listeners, has written a check to make sure that the attorneys that are involved are the best that can be found. Well, I want to introduce you to one of those attorneys. Matt Staver is with us. He is the founder and chairman of the Liberty Council and the dean of Liberty University School of Law. And Matt, I tell you, I can't thank you enough. We met yesterday, and I can't thank you enough for being involved in this. And tell us what you have found about this case.
Well, Glenn, I can't thank you enough and your listening audience, because it is because of your program bringing this to light that I became aware of this situation. And that's why I am in this case. When I heard about it, I was as perplexed as anyone else listening to this story.
And you told me last night that you had the same reaction that I had. There's got to be something else. There's got to be something wrong with the family. There's got to be something.
Yeah, that's the thing that we looked at first before we decided to get involved. First of all, it was outrageous, and there's just got to be something else. So we looked at it, we looked at it, we looked at it. We talked to the parents, we talked to others, we did investigation, and we realized, yeah, there is something wrong, but it's not with the parents. It's with the Department of Children and Families, the DCF of Massachusetts, and Boston Children's Hospital. In fact, this is not the first time that this has happened to parents when they've taken their children for treatment to Boston Children's Hospital at the emergency room, whatever. And then DCF all of a sudden is called, and they come in, and the children are taken away because now, it's not a physical problem. It's got to be a mental problem. It's all in your head. Therefore, it's got to be the parents that are making these things up, and they remove them. And so here's one way I analogize this. I looked at it. I said, okay, let's just look at something that's not controversial. Let's take it out of the medical scenario for a while. Let's look at Justina. She's 14. Now she's 15 when she gets involved in this. And she's being educated at a private school. She has an individualized education program where it is being paid for because she has a learning disability. And so she's ice skating, figure skating in January 2013. She's in school. Now she is taken by DCF. What are they doing about her education? Well, anybody would say it doesn't matter what's going on with her. She ought to be educated. No. She hasn't had any education for now
a year.
3 semesters.
She has
lost 2 years of her education. Even if she doesn't regress, she's already lost 2 years of her education. And, by the way, like you said, no religious services, no communion, no priest, no Easter, no Christmas. What possible rationale could they have? Obviously, DCF is not concerned with the well-being of Justina or the parents. So how can you trust them on anything else? And then when you start digging into this other issue, you begin to realize this is a pattern of DCF and Boston Children's Hospital.
Okay, so you went up, and you have been doing this now for
27 years.
27 years in all 50 states. And when somebody has a First Amendment violation, you come in and you say, I want to be a part of this case. I'm going to be a part of the defense here. And you go in, and what happens usually?
Well, what happens is, you're licensed in different states, but you may not be licensed in the state like, say, Massachusetts. So you have a local counsel, and you file a motion, and you get admitted with that local counsel. It's pretty perfunctory. It's just very simple. It's a standard process procedure. As long as you're in good standing, obviously that's an issue if you're not in good standing, but obviously I am in good standing.
Okay, so
no issue.
Right, so there's no issue, and this is made this way because, as we learned in Boston with John Adams, everybody, even the British, have to have the best defense possible. And so our whole system is made so if you are coming under attack, our whole system is made that you can bring in any attorney, and all these attorneys can just sign on and help you with that case. And it is made to be super easy for the defendant, right?
Right. Because they have a right to the counsel of their choice. And so in this particular case, DCF, back in November of 2013, objected to any kind of media. One of the Fox stations was there November 7 to cover the story, and they objected. And so the judge verbally just said, I'm going to enter a gag order that the family can't talk to anyone locally or anyone in their own hometown locally. The media can't talk to the local media in Boston or in their hometown in Connecticut, in Hartford.
And this is a verbal order. So you come in because this is the national media, and right. You come in and you want to defend, and you stand and you say to the judge, Okay, I want to be part of this case. And what does he say?
The judge just kicks it down the can and says, well, DCF, you have 48 hours as DCF is objecting to me in. Now, here's the thing. DCF started this fight. DCF last week filed a contempt motion against Lou Pelletier. Why? Because he went on your program and other national media. And they say, well, you violated the gag order. You should be held in contempt of court now. So they started this. So I come involved to try to defend Lou. And this order, by the way, is absolutely unconstitutional. And DCF, who now wants to hold him in contempt, says, Lou, we're going to object to the judge. We don't want to have this specialized attorney come in to defend you. And so the judge, instead of just perfunctorily like they do in most cases, all cases that I've been in, he kicks it down the can. It kicks the can down the road instead of grants the admission. So even today, I'm not officially admitted in the case, even though the family wants me to be on the case, and we're trying to help with their local counsel on this serious issue.
Matt, how can the other side, how can the opposition decide who represents the defendant? How is that even possible?
Well, that's where all these pieces start to come together. It's the typical MO of DCF. I was talking to one of the daughters just yesterday, and I asked her, when's the last time you were able to see Justina? This is one of the 25-year-old daughters. And she said, I haven't been able to see my sister since May of last year. Well, when's the last time your grandparents, who were in the 90s, saw her? They haven't been able to see her. So they're saying only the mom and dad 1 hour a week under supervised visitation can see her, but they can't bring in the three sisters.
Wait. Explain the supervised, because we've heard this before, but explain what you have found out, what those conditions, what that really means. Explain what happened last Friday.
Yeah, last Friday, Linda goes in by herself because she can't take her daughters in with her, which is unbelievable. Why would you want to prohibit the daughters from coming in? She goes in, and there's 4 or 5 DCF workers there. So it's not some private chat, hugging and crying, kissing, and having intimate conversations with your daughter that you haven't seen. It's 5 DCF workers in this small room. And who else is there? A Massachusetts state trooper in the room. So there's 6 people there. One who is a law enforcement officer.
One with a gun.
He's got a gun, and he's armed there. And what's the question that they ask her? Where's Lou? Well, why do they want to know where Lou is? What is that concern? Well, because I guess he went on the national radio, and they want to hold him in contempt. They wanted to know where Lou was. He wasn't able to get there yet. And so that's the 1 hour a week that mom had, and what she saw was frightening to her. The belly of Justina was extruded, and where
Explain what that means.
An incision or a button place on her stomach, there are red lines, which could be a sign of sepsis or poisoning setting in. And I said, did you take a photograph of her? No, they won't allow me to bring cell phones in, so she can't even photograph her own daughter.
And when she said, honey, what is this? Well, how long has this been going on? The people in the room, the DCF people, started mocking mom.
Yeah.
Started making fun of her and laughing at her. Oh, look. Oh, now her daughter's got something else wrong. Yeah, she's got red lines coming up from the incision. That's a bad sign.
That's right. Yeah, that's a bad sign. I mean, that's a sign of some poisoning coming in. That could be very deadly. And then so no wonder why on Monday, when the court hearing goes on for about 2 hours and nothing really gets finalized, that the mom collapses under the stress of all of this and is taken to the hospital by ambulance, because at the end of this whole process, she's having hope. Maybe Justina can get some medical treatment. Maybe I can get some more time to see her, and not a thing has been done. And so having just seen what she was like last Friday, and then on Monday having no absolute resolution to get her some quality medical treatment is unbelievable. By the way, I have heard that Dr. Flores just did recently see her. Now, Dr. Flores is the gastroenterologist of Justina, who went from Tufts to Boston, and that's why Justina went to Boston last February of 2013. That's why she went there when she had this severe flu and stomach problem. She wasn't able to eat, to go see her doctor who had transferred over to Boston.
And when did he see her?
I think it was just yesterday or this week.
Oh, my God. It only took a year.
It only took a year. They would not. So she went there. The family wanted to have Dr. Flores. They would not call Dr. Flores in. Now, finally, 13 months later, Dr. Flores has been able to see Justina.
We're talking to Matt Staver. He is the founder and chairman of the Liberty Council. He is the dean of Liberty University School of Law. He is a guy who is now coming in and trying to help the family. He is one of this amazing team that is now getting involved. And Matt, I can't thank you enough. I mean, really, you and the people that are coming in are going to be responsible for saving this girl's life. And I think, honestly, waking America up to a horrible situation. It's not just in Massachusetts. I think Massachusetts is the most corrupt Department of Family and Children and Family Services. Hopefully, they're the most corrupt in the country. But this incestuous relationship between Children's Hospital, Harvard, and the state is wildly, wildly dangerous. Can you tell me, Matt, because this is the main thing. People hear this story, and they say the same thing. And I just want you to cover this one more time. Have you seen anything that makes you think, okay, well, all right, there is this, and maybe, are you seeing anything that would warrant that we don't know, that there's something else out there that we just haven't found as the media?
Yeah, abuse or Munchausen by proxy, like they're claiming. Is there
nothing? In fact, here's to the contrary. If it were so-called Munchausen's by proxy, where the parents are actually bringing medical treatment that's not necessary, then she would have improved after being separated for 13 months.
Right.
But instead, she has digressed. So all of the indications are the parents. There's nothing going on with the parents. It's a problem with Boston and Children's Hospital and DCF. And by the way, this is not the only family that's had this happen with Boston and DCF, Children's Hospital.
Explain this. Because you told me this last night, and I'm blown away.
Yeah, when Justina was admitted back in February of 13, about that same time, another mother brought in a daughter that was 5 years old, had the same kind of mitochondrial condition that was diagnosed. They disagreed, said, it's psychological, and they stepped in, got DCF involved.
5, it was psychological?
5 years old, yeah, psychological.
That one got the child back, though.
That one did get the child back. And the Boston Globe did a series where they found 4 others in addition to that, and one where they did the same thing. They changed the diagnosis, said it's all psychological, must be the parent, and they took the child away. That one was removed from the family for 7 months. She finally fought and got it back. This one's gone on for 13 months.
Real quick, in the admission papers, it says that if the child becomes a ward of the state, experimental medicine can be used on the children. Do you think that there's any really kind of nefarious, hey, we're trying to prove this condition, and so we need these to be wards of the state so we can prove it?
Certainly have some suspicion of that, because if you start looking at somatoform disorder, which is the new term for the Munchausen by proxy, they're at Boston Children's. And in fact, one of the people who was involved in this case did an article on this kind of idea, somatoform disorder. So there's an ulterior motive, obviously, I think.
There's a possibility that this is another Tuskegee kind of thing.
Yeah, there is. And, one of the things that I showed you yesterday was they wanted the family to sign this plan of new treatment, and it says on there that the family will not seek any second opinion.
Yeah.
And when they refused to, we're not going to do that. We want to take her back to Tufts to her medical doctors. They said, no, sorry, you can't check her out. And that's when DCF with their security came in, and that's when this all began.
Thank you so much, and we will stay in touch. And thank you. And we pray for your health and the health of your organization, and God watches over everything that you do. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you for bringing this to the light, and thank you for all you're doing.
Founder and chairman of Liberty Council and dean of Liberty University School of Law.
It's unbelievable.
This thing is going to come undone in a spectacular way.
I didn't realize that somatoform was the new word for
Munchausen by proxy, yeah.
Wow.
Interesting, isn't it? And they will free Justina. You turn up the heat, immediately these guys will fold, because there's something wrong with the judicial system up there. There's something wrong with the medical system up there and the way it's all cozy with everybody. They are getting, I don't know if it's a Tuskegee thing. I don't know. I hope to God not. But something is very wrong here. And I will bet you that the minute we start to really see numbers, you put 200 people in front. I think they're having a vigil outside of her hospital. It's not even a hospital where they're holding her. You put 200 people at that vigil on Saturday, they are going to start making calls to each other and say, this is getting out of control. This is getting out of control. We can't have all this heat. You watch. You can't let up. Even if they free her, something's very wrong.